right now from KTAB News, your local election headquarters. This is Big Country Politics.
Thank you for being here for Big Country Politics, your local election headquarters. In about 40 days, it will be November 3rd, Election Day. Of course, at the top of the ticket, the choice for president, but there are many more federal, state, county, city, school board races on the ballot depending on where you live, but there are only a few weeks left until Texans can request a mail-in ballot. KTAB's Danica Hill found out there is a big increase for those requests. For your latest, here's some more.
Ballot by mail requests are up from where they were in 2016.
Frida Reagan, Taylor County Elections Administrator, says they've already received more than 4,500 requests.
The voters that have a request on file with us should expect to see their ballots arriving in their mailbox this week.
There are several qualifications you must first meet in order to receive a mail-in ballot.
You have to be 65 years of age or older, disabled, or you're going to be absent from the county during early voting and election day, or you're confined to jail, but otherwise you would be eligible.
With COVID-19 concerns still lingering, it is changing how some people are voting.
Some of the older generation, those that are more vulnerable to the COVID, I think that we have seen some of those have chosen to vote by mail.
Another group of voters facing a difficult decision, college students.
They're really struggling. Do they change their registration here and vote in person, or do they do mail-in voting?
Dr. Paul Fabrizio, political science professor at McMurray University, explaining why many college students miss the chance to vote.
This is one reason why a lot of younger people in college don't participate in voting, because it gets confusing, or they can forget to meet deadlines.
One of the biggest concerns for mail-in voters is, will I get my ballot on time?
I have spoken in person to our local postmaster. As always, our mail ballots here in Abilene, our postmaster, they do a very good job, and they do take top priority with our mail ballots.
And nationwide,
even though there's been cuts in the post office still does really good at Christmas time too. And they handle much more mail at Christmas than they're going to handle on Election Day.
And if you are concerned about getting your ballot in by Election Day, Governor Abbott is allowing voters to hand-deliver ballots to their elections office. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Danica Hill, KTAB News.
And the last day to request a mail-in ballot is October 23rd, but Frida Reagan recommends doing it sooner. And we'll be talking to Dr. Paul Fabrizio of McMurray University later on in the show. Abilene's new Austin Elementary School has been open for more than a month, but it's official now following a ribbon cutting. Students, faculty, and community members all gathered outside to celebrate the new school and remember past traditions. KTAB's Monica Meek was there for a stroll down memory lane and where new memories are being made.
As ribbons are cut and kids shuffle into the new doors of Austin Elementary, Kerry Etter can't help but remember his experience with Abilene ISD.
Well, that's my alma mater. I was a Taylor Trojan.
He has one child at the new school and two that attended the old Austin Elementary.
I love Abilene. I grew up here, as I said, went through the AISD, went to ACU, so I've lived away from Abilene for about a 3 or 4 year time period, and the whole time I was gone, I couldn't wait to get back.
And for Allison Camp, who has been the principal of Austin Elementary for the past 5 years, she also feels a strong connection to the school.
Abilene is a great place to grow up as a kid. I loved coming through AISD. I went to Bonham. I'm a Cooper graduate. I went to ACU, so this is my home.
But for both, it's not just the new building that they're proud of.
It's so important for kids to have a brand new school because there are so many opportunities that they have in this school that we didn't have in the other school.
It's the connection their kids will have with the school district and the memories that they'll make. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Monica Diaz-Meek, KTAB News.
And the new school cost nearly $20 million and is part of new school buildings and upgrades across the district. Well, now to a big national headline. United States Supreme Court Associate Justice Ruth Ginsburg has died. She passed away at her home in Washington, D.C. after years of battling various health issues. We take a look back at Justice Ginsburg's life.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a star in the legal world, but most Americans learned her name in 1993 when President Bill Clinton tapped her for the Supreme Court.
I, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, do solemnly swear.
She was a native New Yorker with a stellar resume and only the second woman ever picked for the nation's highest court. But being Jewish, a woman, and a mother, she said, were 3 strikes that put her out of the game. Rejected by law firms, she took a job as a law clerk, then a professor. In the 1970s, she started the Women's Rights Project at the ACLU.
Having experienced discrimination, she devoted the next 20 years of her career to fighting it.
Ginsburg took on a series of landmark cases dealing with gender equality. She argued 6 cases before the Supreme Court and won 5. And she welcomed President Clinton's nomination.
It contributes to the end of the days when women, at least half the talent pool in our society, appear in high places only as one-at-a-time performers.
One of the High Court's more liberal voices, Ginsburg consistently supported civil rights, and she issued a strong dissent in the Bush versus Gore case, which decided the 2000 election. But she also voted with her conservative colleagues. She called the late Antonin Scalia her best buddy. She raised a political flap during the 2016 presidential race when she called Republican Donald Trump a faker. She later said she regretted her remarks but stopped short of an apology. Ginsburg has had several health scares. Her refusal to step down and her unparalleled work ethic earned her pop culture icon status.
It was beyond my wildest imagination that I would one day become the notorious RBG.
Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
All right, and filling vacancies on the Supreme Court is an issue in the presidential election. It would be the president's call, working with Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, as to whether to try to fill the vacancy before the election or before the inauguration in January. Opponent Joe Biden said the decision on replacing Ginsburg should come after the election. All right, still to come on Big Country Politics, Dr. Paul Fabrigio with McMurray University is here. We're breaking down the legacy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We're back in 2 minutes.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, welcome back to Big Country Politics. With us once again, and it's been a while, Dr. Paul Fabrigio, political science professor over at McMurray University. Thank you for coming back on the show.
It's good to be back.
It's been a few weeks since you've been here.
It has. Has anything happened?
Well, I don't know. Not much going on.
Nah.
Well, you know, let's start off with the topic of the week, really. And we should address something right away. We are recording this show on Thursday, so if you're watching this Sunday morning at 6:30, we would have recorded this on Thursday before. So we have to give a little update here.
Yes.
We've been doing stories on Ruth Bader Ginsburg since her death and the Supreme Court nomination, which is always seems to be a big political issue when this happens. President Trump, you said, is nominating somebody or going to make an announcement Saturday.
Yeah, that's the plan.
The day before this show airs.
As of Thursday, the plan is that he would announce on Saturday afternoon. So.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We know he's interviewed at least one candidate, Amy Coney Barrett, and as to other candidates, we don't know.
Well, did I hear he's looking at, who else he's looking at?
A judge in Florida, Cuban American, I think Barbara Logoa, Logoa.
Did I hear Ted Cruz as well?
Ted Cruz was on his list of 20 people that he came out with a couple of weeks ago. And that list you can take with a grain of salt. It included several U.S. senators. Okay. Ted Cruz took his name off the list.
Well, I was going to say I heard Ted Cruz on the radio the other day. He doesn't want it.
Yeah, he doesn't want it. He'd rather be in the political game. So
wow.
I could see Ted Cruz at some point being on the Supreme Court, but 20 years from now, maybe.
Well, here's what I didn't want to do. But it's whatever, I mean, it's what your mind goes to. Here's what I want to do during this conversation. I did not want to go right away like you saw. As soon as Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, right away it was talk about who gets the next nomination to the Supreme Court. I didn't want to do that here. I wanted to talk about her legacy, but here we are talking about, I mean, that's just where it goes, right? I mean, that's an important issue.
It's very important. And by the way, this isn't unusual. This happens with every single justice. You give them a minute, you know, after they've retired or they're gone, and then it's like, who's next? And that's simply the nature of the institution. So while it's uncomfortable to do that to someone who just died, that is the political reality that we live in. And it's not just today. It's the way it was 100 years ago. Who's on the Supreme Court matters. So when someone dies, the president under the Constitution gets to appoint the next person. So that's where all eyes are.
So where is the fight then? There is, Joe Biden is saying, hey, and we, for obvious reasons, Joe Biden is saying, hey, it shouldn't happen until the end of the presidential election, until we have a new president.
Right.
For obvious reasons. And then, of course, Donald Trump is saying, President Trump is saying, no, we need to do this right away. Which is the right one? I mean, is there one? You just mentioned it, actually.
See, that's the whole thing. What is right and what is wrong? This is about politics. This is about power. That's the way it's always been, because the court is so important. So what's going on is that the Democrats do not want President Trump to put a third conservative justice on the court. Because if he does that, then there will be a solid conservative majority on the court. There will be 6 conservative justices on the court and 3 liberals. Now, one of those conservatives, the Chief Justice, John Roberts, sometimes votes with the liberals. So he's sort of unreliable for conservatives. But if you still get someone on before the election or before the new year, well, what you've got then is 5 reliable conservatives, 3 liberals, and then Chief Justice Roberts. You can go all over the place. So what that means is that the conservatives have a supermajority, if you will, that could last 10, 20, 30 years.
These are lifetime appointments.
Yes.
So that's why this is such a hot issue every time this comes around. And even the day of her death is announced, this talk was already happening. This is how important this is.
Exactly. And the oldest living justice now is another liberal. It's Stephen Breyer. He's 82 years old. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was 87. So you think about in terms of retirement, Stephen Breyer might be the next one to retire. If Donald Trump gets elected president, he had the potential then to appoint another person on the Supreme Court, another conservative. So if you care about the Supreme Court, if you care about the power that they have, then obviously the election of the president matters a great deal.
Well, talk about the power that they have. Talk about some of the decisions made by the Supreme Court, and which side of those decisions do they fall on the political lines? So what's the biggest one that comes to mind for you?
Well, the first one and the most important is Roe versus Wade. That's the one that in essence legalized abortion across the whole country. And in the end, this is all a fight about Roe versus Wade. The question for whoever is going to be nominated is, does that person respect precedent? Precedent is Roe versus Wade. If they respect precedent, they won't overturn Roe versus Wade. If they sort of respect precedent, they might overturn Roe versus Wade. And Democrats don't want Roe versus Wade overturned because they want that right to have an abortion. Conservatives want Roe versus Wade overturned because then the issue returns to the states and each state gets to make their own decision what they want to do.
You're talking about that like that's the decision that this is all weighing on.
That is the decision.
That's the one.
That is the decision. And, you know, it used to be in, recent past, so through President Obama, the presidents wouldn't talk that openly about a litmus test for a justice. Donald Trump talks about a litmus test for a conservative justice. They must support overturning Roe versus Wade. Joe Biden hasn't gone that far, but he's come very, very close to saying, yeah, they must vote to keep Roe versus Wade. So that is the issue. And, you know, after abortion, then you think about civil rights, you think about voting rights, you think about LGBT community rights. So then you get into a whole bunch of other things. But in the end, this is a fight about abortion.
When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Paul Fabrizio, McMurray University. And I want to talk more about the Supreme Court, but I also want to talk about mail-in ballots. So when we come back, we're going to talk about those two subjects.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, welcome back to Big Country Politics. We're continuing our conversation with Dr. Paul Fabrizio, McMurray University, and we are talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or trying to anyway. Of course, that conversation leads to the Supreme Court, and then that conversation leads to, inevitably, Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
And we're talking in the break here, and there is a local connection here in Abilene and McMurray, Roe versus Wade. Tell our viewers that connection.
Yeah, Sarah Weddington was the lawyer who argued Roe in the famous Roe versus Wade case that went to the Supreme Court.
And Roe is
her name was Norma McCorvey. She was a young woman who wanted to have an abortion. And Sarah Weddington, who argued the case, was a graduate of McMurray University, and then she went on to UT Austin Law School. And shortly after she graduated, one of her first cases was this woman who walked in wanting to seek an abortion. Abortions were illegal in the state of Texas. And so Sarah Weddington and her law partner argued the case. Wade was the DA of Dallas, and they argued the case, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. So there's a local connection to Roe versus Wade.
And this is just not any case. This is a
yeah.
This has set precedent.
This has set precedent. When you look at the Supreme Court history, this is easily in the top 5 cases in their history in terms of importance. And it still animates political discussion today. The case was argued in '72, decided January '73. Here we are, how many years later, and it's still really, really important.
Okay, now I want to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean,
sure.
Again, I'm going to try not to steer off this. I want to talk about her legacy. First of all, I want to talk about her introduction. Not introduction, but she kind of seeped into, or that's not the right word. She kind of entered pop culture, right?
Yes,
I mean,
she did.
RGB. You say RGB, everybody knows who you're talking about.
The notorious.
The notorious
Yes.
RGB. Yeah, and that's because Saturday Night Live
yes.
skit. And,
yeah,
but
and all that.
She became RGB. I mean.
Yeah, she did. And, you know, there's a host of reasons for that. She worked with a fitness trainer who talked about her fitness routine. She's an,
I remember that. Yeah.
She was in her late 80s, and there she was working out. You know, she's a little tiny woman, and so she worked, if you will, she allowed pop culture to take advantage of her so that she could express what she believed, her liberal viewpoints, to a larger audience. She became a symbol of liberalism on the Supreme Court. And so, you know, I mean, you know, if you can succeed at that, you did it, and so more power to her, I guess.
Well, when you say symbol, I mean not only her politics and how she believes, but her look.
Yes.
Her look also became iconic. I mean, kids were dressing up
with the
on
lace
Halloween, being RGB. They were her. They had the lace.
Yes, yes. And there were people who showed up at the Supreme Court when her body laid in repose, and they were wearing the lace too. So she went beyond being a justice of the Supreme Court, and she entered into a rarefied air. And a lot of that had to do with her as a liberal voice on the court. There's other liberals on the court. There's 3 others. But because of her age, because of her small stature, because I think of her feistiness, she got a special position. And we need to remember, you know, when you think about her, I think what's most important is what she did before she got on the court. Because before she got on the court, she was an advocate for a legal position that a lot of people didn't appreciate, which was you could be discriminated against on the basis of your sex, on the basis of your gender. And so she took 6 cases to the Supreme Court as an attorney and won 5 of them, arguing about discrimination on the basis of gender.
It's because it's something she experienced before she entered law.
Right. She graduated from law school. She couldn't get a job except as a clerk or a secretary. She could not be a lawyer simply because she was a woman. And her husband could get a job. And why? It came down to simple gender and had nothing to do with ability. And that really bothered her. She went and joined the ACLU and argued these cases.
It's funny. Funny's the wrong word too, but it's kind of one person's experiencing, you know, what she did really shaped not only her life, her career, the Supreme Court, but really the nation.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's just so, it's hard to fathom.
Yeah, you think about a male nurse. At one time, that was not allowed. And she took a case involving a man who wanted to be a nurse. She took a case of a man who wanted to be an elementary school teacher and wasn't allowed. She took the case of a woman who wanted to be a firefighter, a woman who wanted to be in the Air Force. And serve as a fighter pilot. Those are the kind of things that she was really interested in. And she goes, we're not deciding these decisions about who we hire and who we not on the basis of ability, just on the basis of gender. And she said, that's wrong. So in a historical sense, she is like Thurgood Marshall, who argued about discrimination on the basis of race.
So much more to talk about. They're cutting us off.
Oh,
this is a great subject. We got to have you back. We'll be back on Big Country Politics. Dr. Paul Fabrigio, McMurray University. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, that does it for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. For the latest political headlines, always go to bigcountryhomepage.com, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for watching.